I'll tell you when. Okay. We are live.
Take it away.
Yes, go ahead. Take it away,
All
Darlene.
right. Welcome to those that are on with us tonight for a splash of the well. And I am Darlene Larson, and I am in charge of our leadership of the well and the personal growth track. And so I'm very excited for tonight's talk, and I will be asking you to be involved in that if you so desire. And you're going to see some coaching worksheets. And I know, Kimberly, you're not seeing the camera, but if you drop emails, we'll see how many we have tonight. We also can shoot them out to you, the PDFs maybe.
Yep.
And thank you so much, Jaslyn, for being here and helping me with all this. So tonight we're going to talk about it all begins and it ends with you. Now, I am a grief, loss, and life purpose coach. So I coach women toward their purpose, why God's has given you breath and still giving you breath. And so, do you want to reap a harvest from your life?
Yes.
And, it's something that we all have to answer because He has a call in your life. That not just pastors and missionaries, but each one of us have a call. And so it's really important that we pay attention to our story. And our story, the best way to describe it is think of your story as a field or as curriculum. And it's up to you to harvest and to look at that and say, what is this all about? What does God want me to do with my story? Now, my talk's going to be about an hour. You can pop questions in, Kimberly and Barb. You can do in the chat or save them for later. But we'll see how many more join us as we go along. And Jaslyn's going to keep me with tech support and keep me going here, okay? So I have 3 coaching worksheets we're going to touch upon, and we're going to show them up on the screen and or I'll explain them, Kimberly, since you're off camera, okay? So before we, you may want to grab some paper and pen. Keep that handy. I see Barb's already writing and taking notes, but definitely when I coach, when I speak, I always have women have paper and pen. But while you're gathering your tools, I want to remind you to make certain you're registered for the WOW Conference coming up. And I want to share with you all of the faculty in the personal growth track, because the personal growth track, I'm going to remind you what I said. It all starts with you and it all ends with you. And all the other tracks are phenomenal as well. The writing, the speaking, the acting, those are all fantastic. But we must go back to our personal growth, because you're going to hear why in a moment. But here are some of the workshops in the personal growth track. We're going to have Christine Tripp this year. She's going to be talking about navigating storms and strengthening your resilience and your health and wellness. She's also an author. Looking forward to having Christine. Nicole Langman, another author from Canada. Boundaries as a ministry tool. She's going to be presenting a workshop. Now, these are all under the personal growth, just the personal growth track. So it's like, wow. Victoria Chapin is going to be writing about or speaking about creative care that won't break the bank. Also another author. Then we have Build Your Creative Confidence by Edie Melson. I tell you, I listened to Edie at a conference last summer. Oops, I skipped one. I'm sorry. That's by Edwina Perkins. She is speaking on Build Your Creative Confidence. And I know that's going to be outstanding. Another author, Edie Melson, Digital Soul Care for Creatives. And I have sat, I tell you, I walked out, just implemented everything she's told me about blogging. Phenomenal woman. Then we have Peg Arnold, who is a part of the faculty and leadership at the Well, and she's speaking about Peg's speaking about avoid comparisons and embrace your design. And Peg is a speaker as well as an author. And then I am going to be speaking on what do you do or how do you create when in grief. We're seeing a lot of grief in our world today, and I have a book coming out on grief and loss, hopefully before 2024 is over. And how do you create? Do you create? And I'll be talking about that in my workshop under the personal growth track. I also am blessed and fortunate that I'll be speaking underneath the intermediate writers track on which book to come forth first, and helping attendees bring clarity to which book. Okay, so those are just some of the wonderful faculty. And so why personal growth? If we removed all personal growth out of the conference, let me share what I've learned and heard over the years. Now, I've coached women for this is my 16th year as a grief, loss, and life purpose coach. I've heard stories. I've seen them in my own journey, in my own life. But this is why I am so passionate that we must examine our own growth. Because if we don't, listen to some of the stories I've heard from people through my journey. So let's say you realize, well, this man and this woman, could be a man or woman, they go to church and they go in and out of church, yet there's no evidence of growth or God in their life at all. Matter of fact, neither one ever talks about God in their home. So how are they going to create? How are they going to grow and do their call in their life? Another one, this woman or man attends conferences after conferences after conferences after conferences, yet there is no evidence or product that they're producing from their life. It's just being an attendee and not coming forth with a product. Well, I've heard this story. This person reads their Bible for an hour a day, but then they beat their spouse. So we go in and out of conferences. We go in and out of church. We even open up our Bibles and go in and out of Bible studies, but we're not growing. So here's another one. This person takes every Bible study offered in their church, yet you don't see any joy. You don't see any fruit of the Spirit or kindness. And you think, okay, so what's going on? Now, Scripture is clear. We are going to know people by their fruit and producing. And so it's important that we all examine our heart. And I want you to know that the very first word to know if you're growing or not is an awareness. And if you're aware in your life, I'm not growing, because we're either going toward God or we're going the other way. There's no middle ground. And so awareness is so important to our personal growth, because we want to become all God has created us for. That's what I coach women to. It's like, let's grow up from the inside out and become all that He's given us life for, and He's given His life for. It's two. He's given us life, but He's given His life for us. So if you are not personally developing, this is what's going to happen. You will sabotage the call on your life. Ouch. Now, I'm in a leadership class right now for 8 weeks. I was in it last night, and it's all about mindset. And so we're going to do a little exercise about how important our mindset is. And see, all of these individuals that I shared, a person that goes in and out of conferences, in and out of church, anyone can do that. Anyone can play church. Anyone can open up a Bible. But transformation begins when we are aware. I'm not growing, or I'm aware. I got to deal with that issue in my life so I can grow. Okay. Personal growth. Very, very important. Okay. All right. So Jaslyn, would you mind putting up that one that looks like a box? She's going to put a picture up. Okay. And Kimberly, you may want to grab a sheet of paper and draw like a rectangle, like a chalkboard on a sheet of paper, if you don't mind. And Barb, I think you can see that. And if not, we'll make sure we'll get this out to you Ladies, if you want to make sure we have your emails, we will shoot that out. Okay. So first we're going to start with, I want you to draw on a sheet of paper a stick figure. So I want you to draw, we're going to talk about our thoughts, because this is about, it all begins with you and it ends with you. So when you get this sheet of paper about reframe, retrain, I'd love you to draw yourself in this box. Make your head really big on a sheet of paper with a stick figure, okay? Thank you, Kimberly. I see your email. We'll get that sent off to you. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Okay, so I want your head, big head, okay, because we're going to talk about our thoughts. Now what I want you to do is draw a line halfway through your head, across long ways, like this. You see me doing this, okay? So what happens with our thoughts? And this is, for example, of where I'm going to take you. We're going to go with our thoughts first, and then I'm going to take you out in a bigger way to your thoughts. So here we go. When you look at this reframe sheet to retrain, this is what I help women with, is we've got to shift your thoughts from I can't. So up at the top, or let's start up at the top. Up at the top, I have verses that say, I, the Lord, do not change. That I am with you. Your word's truth. You will know the truth. The truth's going to make you free. And that God's always with me. Well, if you have your head up there, a lot of women fear being abandoned. So see where it says God's always with me. I want you to put this statement, I am abandoned. And you can put that above your lovely head. I'm abandoned, or I'm all alone. I'm on my own. Okay, so these are thoughts that we have, and you can put those right underneath this passage where God's always with me. Now, if you go over to the right side, I've got the verse Hebrews 13:5. I will not forsake you. God will help you. Well, women fear that they're not going to have anyone help them, that they fear this. No one's going to help me. Who will help me? So on this one, I want you to put, I have no one to help me. No one's going to help me. I'm by myself. I'm all alone in life. Okay. Now go down to the next verse. I'm sort of doing this backwards, but you'll get it in a moment. Okay. A lot of times women do not like change, and everything starts changing, usually for women in their 40s and 50s. Okay. So the passage I have at the bottom here is Jesus Christ. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And so Jesus is consistent and changeless. And I want you all to know only Jesus does not change. Everything else in your life will change. You can try to hold on to kids. You can try to hold on to anything, everything, but life's going to change on you. And so what do you hate? Change. So women usually say, I don't want change. I don't like change. What do I do? So that would be another line or two down at the bottom. Way over to the right, women run to this one. No one loves me. No one cares about me. You know, who cares? And so that's the lies. And then so I have the truth. Okay. So I created this coaching page years ago when I asked God this question: what do women need in order to survive? What do women need in order to survive in life? So now I want you to go back to your little stick figure in here. What happens is some of those lies that I just described to you. If you take your circle of your head and you have your line up at the top, is your, when I describe your head part, okay, that is the conscious thoughts. And you can write that down, but that's the conscious thoughts that come into our head. They come in first very lightly, okay, right here. They just come in, all right, and our feelings are there, conscious. But the line down below are our unconscious thoughts. Those we've had since we were little. And they're like rocks. They're like hard rocks way down in our mind. Okay. So those are unconscious thoughts. So we've got our mind up here is conscious. We've got the unconscious. The reason I had you draw this little stick figure is because what we have to do in order to make certain we're still growing is we've got to get our thoughts all the way through down to the unconscious part of our brain. Okay. And it takes longer when we have gone through life. I hope you're with. Give me a thumbs up or something if you're with me. What happens is we go through life, and women down here in the unconscious will start saying things like this: I'm not good enough. I can't do that. I can't write a book. I can't speak. I can't charge anybody for a painting. And we down here, we limit ourselves because of these lies and limiting beliefs. I hope you're with me. So what happens is we have to reframe and retrain our mind to grow. If not, this down here is going to sabotage our life. Okay? It's going to sabotage the subconscious, because you have to learn to retrain that. You have to get rid of those lies. And personal growth is all about getting rid and aware of these lies. But see, the conscious mind, which is up at the top here, okay, that's more current. That's more of some of our feelings. We've got to get way down in here and put the truth in. So I start with this page here because if women, go ahead, Barb and Jaslyn and Kimberly, if you want to put some of the lies, and to warm you up, I'll say these are some of the lies I hear from women. I'm all alone. I'm not loved. I'm not good enough. If I had $1 for every woman, I would have 2 new homes all paid for the last 16 years that I've coached with I'm not good enough. I'm impossible. This is impossible. This is too hard that God's given me to do. And so see these limiting beliefs, and it can be even where we minimize ourselves. Well, okay, Kimberly, I have no one. Okay. No one cares about me. I don't feel loved. I feel sad. And then what happens is when we have our mind like this with the conscious and the unconscious, what happens is these are going to take precedence. These that are way down, I'm not intelligent enough for certain type of work. Okay, thank you. Thank you all. Why would I think I could do that? Okay, those are all good. Thank you, ladies, for all sharing those. I am guessing all 3 of you have had those way down here in the bottom. Okay. And what we must do is really, you got to uproot those and pull those out by putting the truth all the way through. But it takes work and a willingness to keep on. And God wants you to. He says, cast down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. So we want to bring those down. So I start with this page because many people and women think, well, I'll try harder. I'm going to get up and work at 5. I'm going to read my Bible an hour. Okay. No. Yes, we're to read our Bibles, but that's not what's going to change you. It's the awareness that it's applying and transforming through the Word of God and truth into our mind, all the way down to our subconscious. And you have to, then it moves out, and you have to keep stepping forward to get it to move out. That's why coaching is so impactful. Okay. Is because it's not just, well, I'm going to go sit back. No, you keep going, but you walk that lie out of you. I hope that's making a little bit more sense. So what I did when I created this coaching page is because right there at the top, I tell women, wait a minute. The truth is God is always with you. So you're not on your own. God is always with you. Are you going to believe that? Over to the right, God will help me. I don't have anyone to help me. A lie. That's a lie. God will help you. He will direct you who to go to. If not, there will be ways he'll show you. Okay. Then down at the bottom, this, change. What doesn't change? I've heard women love security. So they think if things stay the same, then they can just live. Well, guess what? Everything's going to change. Everything will change in your life. It will. I mean, just aging, we change. And so you just have to solidify and say, Jesus doesn't change though. He's our solid rock. And then over to the left, love. Oh goodness, we are so loved, ladies. Okay. So this reframe, retrain, I really want you to think about it, because this is where personal growth really begins, especially where I'm going to lead you to next. Okay. So why do the lies keep coming back to the surface? Great question. Because they're down here, and it's The only way those are going to change, Barb, is by you constantly bringing the truth, speaking the truth, hating that lie so much that you get so sick of that sin that you rip it out and you penetrate it. And it comes by repetition of believing the truth and speaking the truth and doing what God says, that we're to transform our thoughts and renew them so we know what God's good will is for our life, according to Romans 12:2. Okay? Because see, the enemy knows how to trip us up. The problem is those lies are so deep down within us, we tend to think they're real, and they're not. Others have stuck them onto you as a child, and they are not. Okay? Thank you for sharing. Okay, thank you. Yes, grief is extremely challenging to work through. And being an only child, my much comfort to you, Kimberly. Thank you for sharing that. But see, what happens is we believe these lies because we're innocent, we're little peeps, and we think, okay, that's reality. Well, guess what? Has it worked for you in life? Have those lies worked for you? Or have they kept you down? Have they kept you trapped? And you're like, what is this already? I would just want to pull it out of me. Well, the way it happens is you got to know the truth, because the truth is going to set you free. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense for you as you go forward. Okay. And so let's go on, and you can come back on with Jaslyn. I'd love to see your lovely face for a minute. I hope that makes sense a little bit. And if you have any questions with that, trapped. Okay. And the way that is, Barb, and thank you, Barb, for saying that, is, see, I'll share with you 2 Corinthians 10:5. 2 Corinthians 10:5 says, we are to cast down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself up here against the knowledge of God. So what we do is we lift up our fear, we lift up our lies higher than the word of God. So you're absolutely right. We are trapped until we choose to do what this verse says. It says, cast down your imaginations and bring them, every thought, into the obedience of Jesus Christ. And so you've got to trap and lasso that, bring it down as you speak truth into your life. God is for me. God sees me. When I began my journey of stepping out of toxicity for over a quarter of a century, the liar sat right here on my shoulder, and this is what he said to me. You can't do that. You just can't. You can't. And hounded me day and night. I remember where I was walking, and to this day, and it was like I was very close at that time, where I was getting cautious about, I didn't want to get out of bed. Now that's not me, and that's never been me, but he was getting so strong, and I thought, I have got to stop this. And the only way I stopped that lie was, I would swing my feet out of bed and quote Philippians 4, I think 13. I'm not for certain. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Okay. And so that was my first one that I had to get out from underneath me and to penetrate, but it had to take a lot of time and work and choose. We must choose with personal growth to hate this sin so much that we want to die to it. Because, ladies, can you tell when you have victory over a thought?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay. And when you start tasting victory, you want to keep going toward that.
Yep.
And you keep going because you sense it, and you're like, oh, this feels really good. And the more you start having victory, I want you to keep going that direction. Does that make sense?
Very much so.
Good. Any questions so far with our thoughts? Because our thoughts, I'll just tell you, if you have notes, the conscious mind, which is above, it's up here. This is our thoughts, our memories, and our feelings. Okay. And we're aware of those like any given moment. We're just like, yeah, I got that. But way down deep is our reservoir. Okay. It's the deep one. And you can Google this, you can study this. And let me tell you, it's incredible. Over 5 years ago, I took the same class I'm taking now, and I am like in totally different spot. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Now I get this so much clearer. So underneath is our reservoir of our feelings, our thoughts, and urges and memories. But they're out. Okay, they're separate though. Okay, they're separate. And so these can really trigger lies to us because they've been in us so long, and you got to get rid of those. And it's like putting your hands in a pile of dirt in the garden, and it's like going, I am clawing you out, and you're going away because you're getting rid of that root. And we have to do that in order to be obedient and to continue to grow. And we are meant, ladies, to grow until our last breath. We are meant. That's God's plan. And we have the power of the Holy Spirit in us. So I hope that has helped a little bit. What's crucial with our thought life is that we want to get rid of those bottoms and then pay attention to what stops you in life. And so maybe what you could do right now on this page with the rectangle is you write down, turn it over or right beside it, 3 of the lies that you need to abort, you need to uproot right now in your life. Any questions? Let me share again, ladies. It's not trying harder. Too many women work themselves into workaholism and people pleasing and perfectionism. It's retraining. It's retraining our thoughts. And that takes work to get down into the bottom part of our mind. Okay. Conscious, subconscious, Google it. They have a lot of information out there. Just make certain you find some accurate people to read their websites. Okay. All right. Now, what I want to do next, we've got this, you've got the verses. Let's see. I'm looking over at the next page. Okay. Now, the pennant page. Would you mind putting that up, Jaslyn? Thank you so much. Okay. Now, this page, Kimberly, looks like an old pennant, like a baseball pennant that maybe you would fly at a stadium, but this is a pennant of purpose. So if you want to grab a sheet of paper and if you want to draw a pennant like a flag, yeah, thank you, Barb. And Barb, have I shown this one to you before? I don't remember, but this one, let's see, we do have their emails too. So we'll make sure you guys get these pages, okay? There you go. Kimberly, thank you. Oh, thank you so much. And I do want you ladies to know, I had one lady message me today. She was so disappointed. She thought this was on at 5:00 this afternoon. I had another woman text me right before and said, Darlene, I can't get on. I have to go help get supper. Another woman I know wanted to be on and something came up. So it's wonderful that women are aware of the splash of the well. Okay, thank you, Jaslyn. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so here we go. Pennant of purpose. Now, I did the mind exercise with you on purpose because I started in a little bit of detailed way, but now I want to take you in a different direction. And you'll understand that by the time we're done. I want you to take your pen or pencil, and on the tip of this pennant of purpose, I want you to draw a cross because that's the day that you will meet Jesus face to face. Scripture says on the pennant of purpose that Psalm 90:10, as for the days of our life, they contain 70 years, or if due to strength, 80, yet their pride is but labor and sorrow, and soon it's gone and we're going to fly away. Okay. So that the end of the pennant of purpose, the point is your last breath. Now, only God knows, we've got a mixed age group here. I've coached women from their late teens all the way up into 80, almost 85. Okay. And so I do believe that God is not done with you until your last breath. And I don't care how old you are. And there is something that your life is meant to impact others, and there's something that you can do to offer to others. Now, up at the top, it says, well, Lord, teach us to number our days that we may present to you a heart of wisdom. That is my heart's desire. That is the verse in one of my a book that's not out yet, in the first chapter, that's my heart's desire, is to, when I meet the Lord, to present to him a heart of wisdom. And women that I coach and teach, that's what I would aim and desire them, because of what the word says. All right, so what are we going to do with this pennant of purpose? Well, I'm going to coach you. So this is something I do as I speak and teach in large audiences. And so what we're going to do is you're going to listen carefully, and you're going to answer on the pennant of purpose specific questions that I'm going to ask that only you will see. And we'll talk about that in a moment. Okay, so here we go. Now, I want you all to dream. Just dream. And remind you, we're talking about your story begins with you and it ends with you. And how do you reap a harvest from your life? How do you reap a harvest from your life? So I want you to dream with me. This is number one, and I'm going to ask you 10 different questions to go along here, okay? You have no fear in your life right now, today, as you dream. No fear. You're not stalling. You are not holding back. You're not believing any of the lies that you just wrote down. You are living a life full throttle out for the Lord. So what I want you to do at the end of your life, over where you just drew the cross at the end, what do you see yourself accomplishing by the end of your life? So go ahead. I want you to write it down on the pennant. What do you want to accomplish by the end of your life? You have no fear in your life. You're not believing any lies. What is it? Dream. I'm going to give you 1 minute. And if you are brave and want to share one of them in the chat so I can see them, you're more than welcome. If you prefer not, that's okay. I'm just going to share with you, when I did this exercise over 10 years ago, it was probably more like 13 years ago. Yeah, probably about 13 years ago. Oh, love that, Barb. Yes, I can see that. Oh, I like that. Barb, I would like you to start drawing what that would look like on a sheet of paper. That I'm assigning that to you as a coach. You can show it to me. You can even bring it to the well, but you can show it to me next month. Awesome. Oh, Kimberly, love it. Okay, good job. Well, ladies, I want you to know, when I started dreaming and I removed fear, I saw books. I saw myself writing books, speaking, traveling around. Coaching was just beginning when I started my training over 18 years ago. It was just coming out, and that's when I started. So having my own business. All right. All right. Oh, how do I do that, Jaslyn? Maybe you can share these. Say them out loud. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Jaslyn. All right. Okay. Ladies, do you mind if I share them out loud? So I'll share mine out loud, and girls, if you don't mind, or I cannot say your name, but maybe I just did. Okay. My dream was over 13, 14, 15 years ago was to become an author and to speak and travel the world and to coach women around the world and speak at conferences. And I thank God because that dream is unfolding as I speak. I speak a lot online. And so one of the women wants to have her own faceting shop, which if you don't know what faceting is, that's gemstones and creating jewelry and rings and beautiful lockets or pendants I'm guessing. Another one said a movie written and published, another book written, this time a graphic novel series. Thank you for sharing. Mine today would be, I have my 5th book is to be published this year. I have about 4 more books in me. 4 more, a couple of them are already written. So I have several books and writing and speaking and growing Hearts with a Purpose. And you can find me at Hearts with a Purpose or DarleneLarson.com. And now I'm in the midst of creating courses for women. And you ladies, stay tuned. And I have a course I'm working on right now as a mini course to give to women about how to awaken your heart. A lot of times women's hearts get buried, get bruised, get beaten up. And they're like, how in the world do I even begin? Where do I begin? Can you relate to that, ladies? Like where? All right. Next coaching question. Thank you for sharing that, ladies. Number 2. And this one I want you to write inside the banner. And I would like you to make a little heart in the middle, draw a little heart. And I would like you to tell me, what people group do you want to touch? What people group? Is it women? Is it men and women? Is it children? Is it the blind? Is it artists? Is it facetors? Is it painters? Is it for those, is it for caretakers? Is it for senior citizens? All right. Okay. So what would you like to, what people group? Okay. Wonderful, Kimberly. Okay, next, 3rd question. I hope you all put that in. 3rd question. What unique? Okay. And I would like you to put this in just a square box somewhere so you can see on your pennant. But what unique or leverage of gifts and talents has God given to you to reach that people group that you just wrote down? For example, I'm a teacher. That's because God, I knew, gifted me. I knew at 9 I was to be a teacher. Okay. I also am an encourager. That's my spiritual gift, teacher. And I also am a learner. And God has impacted and entrusted me with a lot of leverage of pain. And that's why I coach women from pain to purpose, or to live beyond their pain and purpose, from betrayals and grief and loss. And the only way you can live beyond any of those is to know your life purpose. Why in the world God's got you alive, and to go toward that. And so what my leverage when I was coached years ago, it was pain, 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 pain. Now your leverage is something that makes you uniquely you. A couple authors on this site, probably several painters, several people that write scripts. What makes you uniquely you? And it may be you have land, you have finances, you have a leverage of wealth, of maybe you raised a special needs child. Those are all very important that you look at. I want to remind you, your life is the field of your curriculum. And so you have to look at that. You have to say, what's uniquely my leverage? It may be you're a very fast typist. It may be, you know, how you're really techie. There could be several different leverages. Okay. Number 4, I want you to name 3 things. And I would like you to put this in sort of a big star. Okay. Like a star inside your pennant. Name 3 things others have told you that you're really good at. Very good. outgoing, you learn, and you know what a gem, I can see what a gem might look like. So Barb's saying she can see what a stone, when she gets it, how it can look when it's done. So she can visualize that, which is beautiful, Barb. So 3 things people have told you that you're really good at. And put a star around that. These are believing mirrors that God's put in your life. Okay. 5. Now, you just did this little exercise on the other sheet. And so what lies? Go ahead and write those way to the pole. The black pole, the flag pole, the pennant banner, because hopefully you're going to get rid of these lies. Write those down that you said. Now, lies, some people don't like that. So they're your limiting beliefs. They hold you back. They trap you. They lasso you, and the enemy loves it. And I'll tell you, usually fear is wrapped in those lies. Fear to keep you back and trapped, okay? And I would like you, after you put them way over there, I want you to underline them, each of them. Then I want you to draw a circle around them about 5 times. Thank you for all that are on tonight and those that I can't see. So make certain you let Jaslyn know one way or the other you're on. And if you'd like the coaching sheets, we can get those to you. Okay, ready? Number 6, how long, and you can put your yes or no or time, will you allow the lies to control your life? Number 7, what next tough step is God asking of you? Thank you, Kimberly, for sharing that. I think that's awesome that you're willing to present. And what's the next tough step that God's asking of you? That's the question, Barb. At the celebration of the arts, wonderful, wonderful. I think Barb's going to be presenting at the celebration of the arts too. I think that's all your leverage, Kimberly. All of those are. God's equipped you, and your package of giftedness and how he's shaped you and your learning style will probably you'll be very able to relate with others that struggle, the ADHD that's caused stress, but yet what you're doing with all of that and your talents, beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful. Celebration of the Arts is an exciting time. And those of you listening on over at YouTube, Celebration of the Arts, if you go to the WELL site, and we'll drop that in the link if Jaslyn wants to drop that for the WELL website, but make sure it's on all channels. But you can sign up if you're coming to the WELL to be a part of the Celebration of the Arts. And there you go. Thank you. And the conference, yes, 25 through 27. See you at thewell.net. You can register to be a part of the Celebration of the Arts, and an opportunity to showcase you, a platform of what God has entrusted you with, and to be able to share. Okay, next question. I asked you what next tough step God is asking of you to do. So the next question is, what's that going to require of you then? What will that require of you? So example is what Kimberly shared of her celebration of arts. So what's that going to require of her? It looked like she said it's caused her a little bit of stress to put this together. So what has that required of her is we could say, well, that's required her to really focus and get it done, or to be able to practice and to get up there and to her 5-minute art celebration, her presentation. So what's it going to require you? Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to require you to give, to step into the unknown and to risk. Many times people will not step because they overestimate the fear of risk. They think, if I step out there, people will laugh. I will fail. What will happen? Well, is that how you're going to allow people to control you? Because that's a control thing. And so you have to choose to step and realize, are you going to obey the Lord who's given you life, put a call and gifting on you, or are you going to allow people to hold you back? Okay, that can be really tough. So what's it going to require of you? Let me share. When I first started my coaching business 16 years ago, all right, I knew I was going to start writing newsletters. I'm a former educator, taught children for years, so I was used to writing newsletters. So I thought, well, only this is going to be different. This will be electronic. So I sent out my first newsletter. Now, I want you to know, in January of 2008, when I sent out my very first newsletter, I thought, what's the risk of me doing this? Well, the risk would be people may unsubscribe. And I thought, oh, well, am I going to obey God, or am I going to bow down to people? And I clicked send, and I want you to know, I keep clicking, and it's okay if people unsubscribe. Growth work and what I do is not for everyone, and that's okay. And you have to be okay with doing what God's called you to do. Does that make sense? All right. Number 9, what do you need to trust God with? What do you need to trust God with? And I put this in the box, and I would really box this one in. That is correct. There is a season for everything. Yes. Okay. So what do you need to trust God with, ladies, with everything I've already asked you? What do you need to trust? For example, for me was, well, if I'm going to have people unsubscribe, oh, well. Another time for me to step out in the lane of my call was when I went to my very first writing group. Okay. My writing group. Oh, that's good, Barb. Your life. Absolutely. Is if I put my writing out there. Now, some of you may say, if I put my faceting out there, if I put my paintings out there, if I put my fill in the blank, what are people going to say about it? Are they going to laugh at me? Are they going to shame me? Are they going to say, what in the world is she doing here? Okay. All of it. Let go and let God. He doesn't need my help. True. Okay. So we have to overcome fear, and we have to go toward the fear. And so when I went to my very first writing group, it was one of the best things that I want you to know. I'm still involved in that writing group, and it's been way over 10 years. And I love my writing group peeps. Just love it. That was the best thing for me to do after I went to a writer's conference, was jump into a writing group. Okay, so we all have areas where we need to step out. Now, if God were to give you another 20 years, okay, another 20 years. Now, I don't know all your ages, so I'm going to go from 20 to 40 to 50 to 60. If God were to give you that many more years, I want you to name 3 things you would do for certain if you chose not to allow anything to hold you back. So you're healthy, all is good, you're working through anything that hurt, disappointments and grief, and you get healed and stronger. Write down 3 big things that would hold, you wouldn't let it hold you back, and you would go for it. Okay, look over your banner, your pennant of purpose for you. This is yours. This is about you. This is a rough coaching exercise I did with you. But this, like I tell women, most of my women are in their 40s all the way up to mid 80s that I coach. So they're all over in this banner of their age, all over. But what's very important, ladies and gentlemen, is that there is an end date to every one of us. And we want to make certain, beautiful, Kimberly, I'm glad you wrote it out. The reason I coach with this is as you season in life, as you age in life, you want your best yeses to be inside this pennant of purpose, because you recognize I don't have time to do everything else. And matter of fact, I don't have the energy or I don't have the desire. So as a person gets in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, every one of your yeses you want in that pennant that's headed towards whatever you wrote at the tip of your pennant. For example, I know what's at the end of my pennant, okay? I know when I coach women what's at the end of their pennant. And so when they say to me, well, Darlene, let's say I've coached a woman and she wants to become an astronaut, and that's I mean, she's got it. Everything's headed that way. But then she says to me, well, I really want to go take a college class, Darlene, on, I think I want to go do painting. And it's going to take me a year. All right. And it's like, it doesn't fit any of her backstory, doesn't fit her focus, intention. I'd say, why are you doing that? Is it to sabotage? And I'd say, now I want you to know creativity is very important to me. So if it did not line up with anything in her backstory or where she was going, I'd say, why are you going to go invest time when you're supposed to be taking one more class on astronomy or science to get you to become the astronaut you want? So it's really important that your yeses be in there. A better example would be for me. Okay. I know what God's called me to do. I know what that's pretty tight, and I know what it is. So would it be okay for me right now to go and say, I'm going to take a year and I'm just going to go, I'm going to go to cooking school. I want you to know I have no desire. And that would be so silly of me. It doesn't fit anywhere in the lane that I sense God's calling me. Now, could I go take a cooking class for, Valentine's and have fun? Absolutely. And all creatives, I suggest you do things like that. But not if it's not my best yes. This is very, very important. And I'll tell you what happens as you get closer and closer into fulfilling, into where you're to be. There will be things that will come into your life that you're going to have to say, which is the best? These are all yes, yes, yes. I could do that. I could do that. I could do that. But what's the best? Where are you going to be able to give your most energy out that's going to be impactful for the kingdom? Because I want to remind you, it all starts and ends with you, as well as you want to reap a harvest from your life because you want to be a kingdom builder. Does that make sense? That's a lot. So now I want you, as you looked over your pennant of purpose, good. I'm glad it makes sense. Good, good. Okay, now I want you to put what you see of your life. You usually have a marquee. There's something you usually say about your life. And I would love you to put it up above. One of mine was your life matters. I've said that for years. Your life matters. Your life matters. Matter of fact, when I started Hearts with a Purpose, it was your heart matters. Now, the state I live in would not let me use that name. They said that's too doctorish. So they wouldn't let me. Now they let me use Hearts with a Purpose because you have a purpose that's embedded on your heart. So for me, then it went, your life matters. Every person's life matters. But you have to choose to take inventory and take stock of your life in order to know what God wants you to do with your life. So what did you put over your pennant of purpose? What's your marquee? What is your life message that you'd like to tell the world? Beautiful verse, Kimberly, Jeremiah 29:11. I shared that today with my coaching group. Yes. Yep. He has a future and a hope for you. Yes, he does. And you'd like to share that with others. All right. This is really important, ladies, for you to, beautiful Barb, is I want you to take this page, and it's really important that you stay and pay attention to this. There's a lot more that I would keep drilling down, and I think we have time. If you're up for it, we can go on to one more quick coaching worksheet. We'll try to get off about quarter after, if that's good with everyone, and wrap it up. But there's one more coaching sheet that I thought this will even drive. See your penitent purpose. Now I want to make it very practical for you of how can you bring everything you just put in that pennant into your day-to-day life. See, we can all put stuff in our head. We can all put stuff on paper, just like I started with your thoughts, your mind. You have an awareness, but you're the one that has to cause it to step into action. Now you all are stepping because you're coming to the well. So you're taking a step forward to the well. You have to go toward the fear. All right, Jaslyn, could you put up the other coaching page, please? Okay. Those of you that have my books, and you can get a free one on my website at darlenelarson.com. But this coaching page is in every one of my books, and it's Your Life Matters. And so Your Life Matters is, like I just shared, a marquee that I've used. But what I'm going to do right now is, Kimberly, you can't see it, but I want you to think of, you can draw quick, like 7 puzzle pieces. And I'm trying to think. If you go to my website, Kimberly, at darlenelarson.com, you can go down to the bottom and you can get my first book free. And this page is in that book. But this is a quick assessment that usually I coach women with right at the beginning. And I had a gentleman that I coached this with. He told me I need to patent this page because within, okay, you can see it. Thank you, Kimberly. So he said he changed it. He got so much focus for his life in this short page. So what I want you to do is this page is, don't forget all of this, all that you wrote down, because now what we're going to do is we're going to put it inside this page. So with Your Life Matters page, I want you to think of every one of these as coffee cups or a puzzle piece. And only you can choose to do and grow in each domain of your life. Again, it's back to you and your growth work. We do life out of all these domains every day, and let me explain them really quick. Your spiritual domain is your life in your disciplines with the Lord, with reading his word, with praying, with believing and walking out what he says. And you're pretty in sync with God. Mental are your thoughts that you've already talked about tonight. And how healthy are those? Your emotions are your feelings. Physical is your home ambiance as well as your body and taking care of your body. Your vocation, life calling, career, purpose, those all streamline together. Financial, where are you at? Tithing, budgeting, saving. Relational, relationships, how are they? Spiritually, of course. What I want you to do is quick grab a pencil, and maybe you don't have this page, so you can do it on your own later on. But I want you to just shade in how filled up that you are grown in each of these areas. I've had some women, they can't shade much. I've had some women shade a lot of some of these and not of all. So let's go to the spiritual one, the heart one. How in sync do you feel you are in obedience to your life, to everything we've talked about tonight in growing you with your relationship with God spiritually? One line, or do you feel like halfway up that you're in sync, or you're mad at God right now, so you're really struggling? Wherever. The mental is your thought life. Are your thoughts pretty centered, healthy, kind, generous, good? You're thinking on things that are true, honest, just, or are they pretty toxic? Are they pretty sad, sour, and negative and self-pity? The more you color up, the healthier you are from the inside. If you're not, don't color much. Go to the third, emotional. Usually this one women really struggle in. It's the feelings. Okay, I feel sad, I feel depressed, I feel no one cares, I feel no one loves. So your feelings ruin and run your life. Now, we've already talked a little bit about this earlier, okay? So this page, this is my third book. And by the way, I've written books about each one of these, spiritual, mental, emotional. You can get the first one on my website if you like. But the emotional one is those feelings. They trip women up because they tend to believe they're the truth. And go back to our mind page that we did at the beginning. Physical, okay, your home, your body, how you doing? Taking care of all that because God's entrusted you. Color it up. If you're doing well, go high. If you're not, don't color much. Oh, Barb, thank you. Okay, Barb said the first time she did this page, they were blank. Oh, Barb. And now I can shade a lot more now. Bless your heart, Barb. I'm thrilled for you. And please know, all of you, that I have women do this like Barb. Some women read my books over several times because there's report cards in them. And I have everybody, I would suggest you all date your material, because what you want to do is be able to come back and look at your material and say, I've grown, just like Barb did. Good job, Barb. Okay, vocational, calling, life purpose. You know, you may be thinking, I don't even know where to start. I'm working. I don't know what it is. That's okay. You're working. So color it in some, you know. And if you feel like you're in sync to where God's got you and you're growing and going, color a lot of it in. Financial, saving, tithing, budgeting, you know, how you doing there, go ahead and color that one in. Taking classes or investing, however. And then relational. The relational one is, now you may have broken relationships, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you. For example, are you toxic? Are you angry? Are you bitter? Self-pity? Do you blame? Or you've done some really healthy work in your life here in relationships, boundaries, and you know how to do relationships. And so where are you at there? If you need work, you need work. See, every one of these areas are part of our personal growth. Every one of these areas will affect our purpose, whether you're to write, whether you're to act, whether you are to facet, whether you're to write books, scripts, movie theaters, be a chef. All of these will impact our life purpose. That's why our personal growth is so important, because God wants into every one of these. Now, when you do this page, when I'm done speaking, I always have women take a cross, draw the cross in the spiritual. And then what I have them do is draw that cross all the way through that whole page, because the Lord truly wants in all of these domains of our life, not just the spiritual. No, we're body, soul, and spirit. He wants in all areas of our life, our finances, our relationships. That's what he wants, is to have dominion inside us and into all of our life. And so then I have women draw that out. Now, what I would challenge you with is to look at this page and say, now, what 3 areas are your weakest? For example, I've had some women say, well, it's my mental, emotional, and spiritual. They're not shaded much. Okay. Or a woman could say, it's my life purpose. I don't know, Darlene. Or it could be physical. I need to get to the doctors. I need to start exercising. I need to take care of my home. Others say it's my relationships, mental and spiritual. Okay. You find your top 3, write them down. And then what I want you to do is go back and look at your pennant of purpose page. Okay. And let's say it's the spiritual. And let's say, okay, look at the lies you're believing. Okay. So What do you need to start believing in the spiritual domain to start shrinking those lies that you wrote down on your pennant and you also wrote down on the truth page? Does that make sense? So that's why I had you do the big picture of your pennant first. Now we're bringing it on home. So how are you going to apply this? Well, let's go to the mental part. So, this lie, I'm not good enough. How are you going to get rid of that? Okay. How are you going to get rid of that? Because you got to choose to get rid of that. And I'm going to challenge every one of you. What in the world is enough anyway? I'm not good enough. What does that look like? I asked women once in a classroom I taught in my church where I taught for several years. I asked them this question. I said, so women, how much cash do you need to have in your purse to feel like you have enough? The answers went from $5 all the way up to got to have thousands. So what's enough? If I asked you, got to have enough food. Well, what in the world does that look like? So to be good enough, what is that? Whose standard? What are you looking at to say I got to be good enough? Does that make sense? The enemy knows what works, and that's one of the lies that works on people. Is I'm not good enough. Okay, so in order to change your thoughts on the mental part, you're going to have to do some work. And so you have to start getting the lies, recognizing awareness of lies, get the truth in. Now, the emotions, let's say they're ruining and running your day. For example, I'm sad, and you say that 100 times a day. You've got to stop saying that. Scripture's clear. As a man thinketh, so he becomes. So even speaking these out loud, we can bring it to be into our life. Because scripture says that. And so it's like, whoa, I need to really reprogram my thoughts, which the Lord desires us all to do, Romans 12, 1 and 2. And so on this Your Life Matters page, I really want you to challenge you to go look at your domains and then write out 3 goals for each domain that you want to work on. Put a timeline to it. It could be relationships. I want to be kind. I want my words to be kind and not critical that come out of my mouth. Okay? Any questions on that page? There's a lot more I can unpack on that page, but due to time, I think we're just going to make certain there's any more questions. And if Jaslyn, you want to come back on or drop down the picture, however you want, I'll be glad to answer any questions you have, ladies, over any of this. As a grief loss and life purpose coach, I want you to know that if you trust God and you obey him, he'll take your pain and turn it to purpose. No matter your backstory, no matter what you've been through, God is faithful. But he does want us to participate in life. He wants us to join him, see where he's at work, and to deliver our purpose, whether it is to the blind, whether it's to children, whether it's to men, women, professors, astronauts, to chefs, to write, to produce movies. He's gifted us all, but it's up to us if we're going to choose to obey his word and then to step in and to go forward to all that he has for us. Again, it starts with you and it ends with you. And I want you to be able to reap a harvest from your life. That's my desire for you. And as a coach and speaker, that's what I love for everyone that I speak into their life. Questions you may have. Kimberly, you can pop any questions. Barb or Jaslyn?
I just want to say thank you, Darlene, for just helping us through a process of understanding where some of our insecurities might come from, because some of us haven't taken the time to sit and realize what were the ways that our past, our history, our experiences in life shaped the way we see the world and the way we see the opportunities that God has presented us with. And there is healing that is there for people, because I know that there is so much abundance for all creatives, for those of us that are on the journey, starting out with little steps, and some of us who are taking big steps and still need a lot of courage to do those things. This information is going to help a lot of people. So I hope more people can get these resources. But again, if you need him, comment in the chat, and I'm happy to give them to you guys as well. But thank you, Darlene.
Thank you so much. And Jaslyn, let me encourage something here, because we have all ages. And when I speak, especially at conferences, I mean, they're all ages in my rooms. Something to pay attention to with our life purpose is there are seasons, and especially with our roles. And we have to pay attention to our roles, because of being maybe 20, 30s or 40s, or just really, maybe a college graduate or just beginning. It's like, okay, you do what's right next that he has for you. And you keep going towards, though, he gives us sneak peeks, Jaslyn. And maybe that's something I should share real quick, is sneak peeks, because I think this may help you. When I was in my early 20s, right after I met Jesus, I had thank you, Kimberly. Glad to have you. Look forward to meeting you at the Well Conference. Let me share with you about sneak peeks, because God gives us sneak peeks. Now, I knew I was to be a teacher, so I went to college, got my degree. But then God got me. And so then it was, now what, God? Now what do you want me to do? Because how can I go teach and I can't talk about you? This is going to be really hard. So anyway, I ended up teaching in a Christian school, which I loved. But before that, I went to a women's conference. Okay. I never knew there were Christian women conferences back at the time. Went to a Christian women's conference. I went and I sat in the front row on the right side. The speaker was a phenomenal lady, and she had her own curriculum in blue books. She started talking, room full of women. My heart jumped out of me as she talked, and I thought, sign me up. This is me. This is so me. Just, matter of fact, 2 hands up. Now, I was in my early 20s, and it was like, oh my goodness, it just so jazzed me. I thought, oh my goodness, this is so me. Now, my self-righteous attitude at that time thought, yep, and I know someday this is probably what I'll be doing, and I know probably what I'll be teaching on. But it was so self-righteous of what I thought I'd be teaching on. And God, I had some of that. That's a sneak peek, Jaslyn. Okay, so I share that because did I speak and did I teach throughout those years of my 20s and 30s? Yes, but God also had me in a desert to help me understand that he's real, and so is his word, because he wanted me to know his word. So Jaslyn, I hope that helps. Every one of you has sneak peeks. Pay attention to them. Go back in your story. I think Barb, if I remember right, Barb, I think as a little girl, loved picking up stones. Barb shaking her head, yes. And I know Barb well and have had the privilege, Barb. And isn't that interesting? And she loves today working as a faceter and working with gems. So there are sneak peeks. So I hope that helps, but also is roles. Real quick, our roles are really important. But if you're a stay-at-home mom, if you're where you're caretaking of parents, those are important. You have to pay attention to those roles, because relationships are the way God works through the roles. And when he's ready to move through a relationship or a role, God will see you through it. Okay, so make sure I mention that, because I'm so for moms and young moms and stay-at-home moms, and to love on those kids, because it goes fast when God gives you that. Okay. Any other questions or closing thoughts? Thank you, Jaslyn. Barb, any questions? And Kimberly, thank you. I don't know if you're still on, but thank you for sharing that. Okay, I just want to encourage you all that I'll see you at the well and love to have a chat with each of you, and maybe all of us can sit at a table and have a meal together. And yes, Marnie's up next, coming in February 6th. And Marnie is in charge of all the speaking part at the well, and a phenomenal lady and very gifted, and you'll enjoy Marnie. And thank you so much. And yes, you can go to my website and get my first book free. And if you'd like 20-minute coaching, I offer that over at my website as well. And thank you, thank you, thank you all. Have a good night. Remind yourself, harvest from your life all that God has and wants from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Darlene.
You're welcome.